I'm not proud of how long this one took me to make. This is the last episode of the tier list, and I managed to take the longest time to make one single episode of what is the best subclass in the entire game because of some nonsense. I don't know which member of Al-Qaeda in the Bungie matchmaking department I managed to piss off, but I'm sorry. Please, just tell me what I need to do to repent so I can actually get some balanced and fun lobbies, and maybe I'll stop slandering you. Please just give me a break this one time while I'm trying to make this video. Please. Before you say, oh, you're overreacting, it's not matchmaking, just get better. There are certain things that happen while matchmaking, one of them being map selection. Now, I'm going to tell you in order the maps I played and when I played them in the order that I played them, because after the third time in a row playing Eternity, I started to keep track. So here we go. The Citadel, the Fortress, Midtown, Multiplex, the Citadel, the Dead Cliffs, Disjunction, Midtown, Citadel, Widows Court, the Anomaly, 7 times in a row. The Fortress, Eternity, 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 the Fortress, the Fortress, the Fortress. And finally, Pacifica. Just in the span of this one play session alone, I got hit with the worst maps ever designed. Disjunction should go in the vault. Contrary to popular belief, I do try my best whenever I try to play Crucible, because if I'm spreading misinformation, I at least want it to be as accurate as possible. So when I say that Void Warlock is the worst subclass in the entire game, I actually mean that Void Warlock is the worst subclass in the entire game. So this is the build I was rocking with, as you can see on screen. Starting off with the basics: Towering Barricade, Strafe Lift, Shield Bash, and Scatter Grenade. However, I was using Magnetic Grenade for a large chunk of this play session, but Scatter Grenade is just simply better. For aspects, Bastion plus Offensive Bulwark, there is no reason to be using Controlled Demolition outside of PvE and other endgame activities, so we're using Offensive Bulwark and Bastion. And for the fragments, Echo of Domineering, Echo of Expulsion, Echo of Dilation, and Echo of Leeching. These fragments are going to assure that you're going to have the best time playing the game. Leeching for melee kills off of Shield Bash and other regular melee kills, Dilation for the stats and the enhanced radar, Expulsion for the ability Final Blows causes enemy to explode, really useful with Scatter Grenade and Shield Bash, by the way. And Echo of Domineering, after suppressing a target, you gain increased mobility. You suppress targets while doing everything, including Shield Bash. So hitting someone with the Shield Bash and getting that increased mobility, plus the additional discipline from the mod and the fragment itself, just means you're going to have a great time playing with this subclass. And moving on to the loadout itself, because I wanted to try this time, I used a variety of guns between Conditional Finality and Reeswalker for shotguns, different hand cannons, Steady Hand, Thorn, Ace of Spades, even Igneous Hammer was probably my favorite hand cannon I used this entire time. Used a variety of SMG, Shira's Wrath. Side note, best SMG in the entire game. If you can get a good one with kill clip, get it. I also enjoyed using Unending Tempest. I didn't enjoy using the Immortal because I don't know what happened, but they seem to have broken it. Randy's Throwing Knife came in clutch on numerous occasions when I was stuck playing Eternity for 3 matches in a row. In the Grenade Launchers, Prodigal Return, and Explosive Personality. Now, if you ask me, did you snipe anybody whatsoever? I can sure tell you, I used the sniper. I didn't get many kills with it, but I sure as shit used it. And for the exotic armor, just the craziest exotic in the entire game for Void. I don't care what you're doing. If you're not using feedback fences, you're doing something wrong. If you're not playing aggressive and in their face with either the shotguns, the SMGs, hell, even the grenade launchers and hand cannons, you're going to be in their face. You're going to be sprinting. You're going to be getting Shield Bash. These things are going to be useful all the time, and on numerous occasions I got double kills or even triple kills just with the feedback fence, not even intending to. And hell, I was getting kills just because people were hitting me. I didn't even look at them and I was getting kills. You Shield Bash in and you have the AC/DC feedback fence working out great. And for heavy weapon, Cataphrag GL3 is the best heavy weapon in the entire game right now. It comes with 3 rockets in it, so just immediately, if you're having any troubles, try to pick up a good Cataphract or at least a good adaptive frame grenade launcher. And this is it. This is the builds. Artifact didn't matter, but this is the artifact. Back to your regularly scheduled whinging, whining, and moaning. Onto the gameplay, I would say that there isn't a single weak link in Void Titan's kit. It does everything. It can be aggressive, it can punish aggressors, it has good area control, its supers are fantastic. One is a little bit, aka a lot bit better than the other one, but you still get my point. It has many usable supers and many ways to use those supers depending on what you're doing. Whether you're rocking the overshields on command just by clicking your class abilities through the offensive bulwark, or you're running around with weapons of light, or you're just getting health regeneration for meleeing things, or suppressing people, or getting void overshields, Void Titan is the peak of both offense and defense. There isn't a single thing wrong with the kit, and I would wager to say that it is actually overpowered. From a casual's perspective, from a casual's point of view, you're looking at a subclass that does literally everything without a single weak point. It shares that in the same way as Strand Hunter and Solar Warlock do literally everything well. Being fair, it's almost unfair in the way that Titan gets to operate. Now, I know, Titan has been good for a really, and I mean really long time. There hasn't been a single point in the meta of Crucible between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 when you didn't want to use a Titan. Whether it be Destiny 1 panic slamming, Taken King hammers, vanilla anything related to Arc before it got busted. One Eye Mask. Titan has a long pedigree and a very, very strong history of just being the best at what it does. And in Crucible, this is no less. I am a Hunter Master Race kind of guy, and for me to admit that Titan is simply the best class in Crucible, no matter what you're doing, specifically for the fact that Void Titan exists, is crazy. Now, you can pull up usage stats on recent usage for subclasses like Strand and like Solar, but it still doesn't even hold a candle to the effect that Void Titan is going to have on the overall meta of the game. When you're looking at those usage statistics, that counts every single bozo, not the people that can actually use the subclass and use it well. When discussing the super, Ward of Dawn is really strong. It's probably the strongest super in the entire game. The utility of weapons of light plus armor light just makes you nearly invincible and almost uncontestable with
Zone B captured. You have advantage.
As I was saying, Ward of Dawn is an insanely powerful tool when used in the correct circumstances, and you don't just simply pop your super and assume that you're going to live. For example, on screen right now, we're looking at some gameplay where I'm using Ward of Dawn to buff my Randy's throwing knife. Now, Randy's throwing knife is a relatively shallow hitting weapon. However, with the Ward of Dawn, the weapons of light buff, this thing is an absolute monster. It makes every gun a monster. It isn't impressive to say you got kills while Weapons of Light is up, but it still makes for a good talking point. And remembering the fact that Weapons of Light has that 15-second timer allows you to do some absolutely haram roaming strats where normally they expect you to be in the bubble, but that's not where you should be unless you're holding down an objective, because a bubble is a big keep away button. Now, the bubble lasts for quite a long time, so you can always leave and come back to it to refresh your weapons, but the Weapons of Light is almost as good as the bubble is for survivability, so you just want to make sure you're using it to its fullest extent. Being aggressive is the correct play. Run through enemies. If you're not holding down an objective, you can use your bubble to push objectives. It is incredibly versatile, and when you're using things like the Igneous Hammer or any other 120 RPM hand cannons, you're going to be hitting hundreds to the head, which is, if you do the math, a 2-tap on nearly every Guardian. The only time it isn't going to be 2-tapping is if you hit him just barely outside your range, but when you're hitting those double hundreds, and you think you're getting kills, but really you're just hitting a Strand Hunter's decoy, you're going to be really upset. And then doing it a second time, and then losing your bubble to an individual using Lethal Abundance. We're done messing around. I'm going to give you my final ranking and finally finish this series, which I started quite a while ago. Now, I have one change I need to make before I place the final piece of the puzzle. I need to move Behemoth Titan into competitive, and I need to move Arc Warlock out of competitive. I, upon some reflection, realize that Arc Warlock is not bad, but it's just not as good as everything else in the competitive tier. And same thing with Stasis Titan. I've had a veritable change of heart. I used to think it was niche. Now I know that because it is so annoying, that's what makes it competitive. It's just so niche that it is a competitive subclass. You can do so much with it. You can support your teammates, you can kill people, you can just set up. It just does so much. Anyway, enough yapping. Void Titan is broken. It almost deserves a tier upon itself. It does literally everything better than every other subclass in the entire game. I know I have alluded to this the entire time I've been doing this series, but this is the final tier list. As you can see, for broken subclasses, we got Void Titan, Strand Hunter, Soul Warlock. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. For competitive, the subclasses that I would expect people to be using: Void Hunter, Strand Titan, Stasis Hunter, Stasis Warlock, Arc Titan, and Stasis Titan. For the average subclasses, you got the Solar Hunter, the Strand Warlock, which could, in theory, be competitive if it was just a little bit better with its tracking. But right now, it works as a great shutdown tool if you're at the perfect distance, but it is really, really easy to miss. And Arc Warlock, and we're moving down to niche, the Solar Titan and the Arc Hunter. Despite how much I like both of these subclasses, they just simply aren't good enough. Solar Titan especially just gets outcompeted by literally everything. Its kit is in need of a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of reworks, maybe some reversions to the way restoration works, but it used to be broken, so I don't know how they're going to do that. And finally, Void Warlock is the worst subclass in the entire game. It really is fitting that the Void subclasses for Titan and for Warlock are on the opposite spectrum of the horseshoe. It's not even a horseshoe, it's just a straight line, with Void Titan being so far and beyond away from Void Warlock that it just is crazy how bad Void Warlock is. For watching this series, those of you, I know there are many of you that will watch every single episode of this, I just want to say I appreciate every single one of you. And if you're brand new watching the final tier list just to get to this one point, don't take anything I'm saying too seriously. This is based off of my personal use and my months and my almost 10 years of experience playing both Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. This is just the way it works for me. I'm sure you're going to have your own preferences, especially you very, very vocal Void Warlock mains. I just want to say thank you for watching. I don't think I'm ever going to do this again. I appreciate your time. Have a great day. Goodbye.